We begin with breaking news at this hour. Wildfire is growing in El Paso County, just east of the Colorado Springs airport. This is a live look at the area. There's a good deal of smoke in that area. They have named this fire the Meridian Fire. Evacuation orders are in place near Highway 94 and the Schriever Space Force Base. Right now, estimation it's about 3,000 acres in size. Some structures are threatened in the area, but we don't know of anything being lost at this time. You can see the smoke, though, and it's just a good reminder for residents to stay prepared. They're asking you to make sure you have all the peak alerts if you live in the Springs area, if you need to evacuate. And Colorado Springs firefighters are also responding to this wildfire. So they got two going on. This one is near the Garden of the Gods and 30th Street in Colorado Springs. Just about 10 minutes ago, Colorado Springs Fire said they're getting a good handle on this fire, but they're still asking people to avoid the area. It's unclear the size of that fire, but it's been dry and windy, so this is serious stuff.
We turn now to the government that could shut down in less than 36 hours. There, of course, you see the U.S. Capitol. A live look there. Senate Democrats spent the day protesting the Republican-led funding bill that has passed the House. Should no deal be reached, the government will be forced to shut down tomorrow at midnight. In the meantime, a federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to immediately reinstate thousands of employees at federal agencies.
The probationary employees were fired last month as part of the administration's effort to shrink the federal workforce. The order applies to half a dozen federal agencies, including the Departments of Defense, Treasury, and Veterans Affairs. The judge said he might extend it to cover other agencies later, adding he believes the Office of Personnel Management unlawfully directed layoffs of probationary employees. Government lawyers insist the mass firings were all, in fact, legal. Representatives from the U.S. are trying to calm tensions in an ongoing trade war. President Trump is threatening to impose even more taxes on imported goods.
This all happening while the slashes to the government workforce are roiling investment markets. That's also leading to protests in different places in the country. Here with the wrap is NBC's Aaron Gilchrist.
Now he's Secretary General of NATO.
President Trump upping the ante in the trade war with allies, threatening a 200% tax on alcohol from parts of Europe, costing big for that glass of wine or bubbly. The threat coming after the European Union placed a 50% tariff on U.S. whiskey, the president downplaying the pain to small businesses.
They're going to be so much richer than they are right now.
During his meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, not softening his tone on tariffs.
No, I'm not going to bend at all. Aluminum or steel or cars. We're not going to bend. We've been ripped off as a country for many, many years.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio meeting with G7 diplomats in Canada trying to cool temperatures. And on the other side of the border, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick and Canadian leaders talking tariffs in Washington, D.C. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers facing a crisis too, trying to avoid a government shutdown tomorrow night.
Democrats need to decide if they're going to support funding legislation that came over from the House or if they're going to shut down the government.
What the Republicans are doing is not a CR, it's a license to destroy. There are things in that are utterly unacceptable, and it's a surrendering of the powers of Congress.
The tug of war on issues impacting the economy, adding to Americans' anxiety.
I think the situation is evolving quickly, and I think that, it's not quite clear how things are going to evolve.
During that meeting with the NATO Secretary General, President Trump said that Europe needs to step up with resources to help with the ceasefire talks between Ukraine and Russia. U.S. negotiators are in Moscow, where President Putin today said that while he supports a pause in the fighting, more issues need to be discussed. Ukraine has backed that 30-day ceasefire. Aaron Gilchrist, NBC News, Washington.
Back here to the metro area, one woman is dead, a toddler hurt. This after Wheat Ridge police say a suspected drunk driver hit their car head-on early this morning. Police say 34-year-old Jian Chen crashed into that woman's car while going the wrong way. He was I-70, driving west in the eastbound lanes between Kipling and Ward a little after 5 a.m. The woman in the car died at the scene. She has not yet been publicly identified. The toddler who was with her is expected to survive. Wheat Ridge police have recommended at this point 4 charges against Chen that include vehicular homicide and DUI. Court records show that Chen has a previous DUI conviction from 2019 as well.
It is warm out there and dry, very dry. And in the south, of course, they're under that red flag warning. We're seeing those fires in El Paso County and how quickly they're spreading. Here in Denver, we are preparing for high winds tomorrow and not such warm weather.
So as we get to Kathy, we're talking about those fires burning in Colorado Springs. The winds are coming. Are they here yet, though, in some areas, like down south?
You know, it's not that windy in downtown. The storm has slowed just a bit. So actually, the heavy snow and wind that we thought would impact the mountains today will hold off until later tonight into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow. But slowly, those winds are increasing to the west and south out of the southwest. It's not entirely calm, but the worst of the wind is yet to come. So fire managers are trying to jump on these grass fires right now before the real wind sets up. We've got temperatures way above average, almost 80 in southern Colorado, almost 70 in Denver. You can see, Tom, the winds out of the west and southwest to about 25 miles per hour. We tomorrow could see gusts to 40, 50, 60 miles per hour. We have that fire weather warning. We also have a high wind warning. This will be much of our day on Friday. And this is the main theme with this fast moving storm. Won't be the snow. It will be the wind, which will create areas of blowing snow and blowing dust. This system's going to be out of here in about 24 hours. And we're just now seeing a little moisture out across the western slope, but not really enough that's impacting travel or making a difference. So the winter weather and travel advisories for the mountains go out late tonight through the day tomorrow, but up to a foot of snow. Put that in your planner if you're traveling up into the mountains to go skiing tomorrow. And the temperature trend for Denver, comfortable tonight, but the headlines include that wind forecast, details on that, and will this incoming storm block the beautiful full moon and the lunar eclipse? More on that and your weekend forecast coming up.
One Colorado city is rebranding. Downtown Greeley is getting a new look.
The city is hoping that the community, as well as visitors, are going to embrace this new design and logo. And 9 News Northern Colorado reporter Amanda Gilbert learned what Discover the Draw means to Greeley.
What do you think of Greeley, Colorado? It's a question I ask people who don't live there.
I have never been, but you want to?
I want to go.
Lots of people there, and I feel it can be really nice.
I mean, partly I think it's the farms that are nearby, create like the Greeley aroma.
But if you head downtown...
Hi there, how's it going?
Rebecca Victor, aka Mom's Popcorn, feels Greeley is actually all about community.
Feels kind of small town, and just the people in general, they're going to treat you great.
It's why the downtown area wanted a rebrand, so they looked within.
So we are using the mural behind us is actually an inspiration that we have for our rebranding that we did recently.
Downtown Greeley events coordinator Gia Storga says this is home.
I've tried moving multiple times. I've moved to Denver, I've moved to Austin, and I always come back over here.
He wants people to wonder why he came back, wonder what draws people in.
Someone once told me that Greeley grows within you, and I think that's a very valid quote.
They've got a new saying around town.
Like, we want them to discover that draw. We want them to discover the beautiful things that we have here, whether it be the live music, whether it be the culture.
Beautiful things like community and culture.
We have a massive Latino population here. Like I said, I grew up all around throughout Greeley, and so seeing my Latino people kind of flourish has been such a beautiful thing to see.
So instead, maybe people will talk about things like this.
Getting to know your neighbors, that is first and foremost the thing about Greeley that I notice.
It's just still a little small hometown feel to it, and good friends and good people.
In Greeley, Amanda Gilbert, 9 News.
No deal. That's the word today for a now former Broncos assistant coach accused of punching and injuring a Denver police officer. Michael Wilhoit is facing charges of assault after being accused of cursing and hitting an officer working a passenger pickup lane at DIA. And that came after Wilhoit left his vehicle double parked and unattended. Earlier this week, it appeared that he would potentially qualify for a diversion program for education and community service and the possibility of criminal charges being dropped. But before that could happen, the injured officer would have to agree to it. And today, our 9 News Investigates team learned he will not. As a result, Wilhoit's criminal case will proceed, beginning with his next court appearance on May 6th.
In Boulder, spring football games are going to give some of the newer buffs the chance to get acclimated with their new team, but that also includes the coaching staff. The staff does have some new additions that include Hall of Fame running back Marshall Faulk. Now, he says he's excited to be there to reunite with an old friend.
Sean Payton was my running back coach, and now he's the head coach at the Broncos. So it's just serendipitous that I'm here now, and it'll be an even easier commute to go there and watch them practice, spend some time with Sean, and get better at the craft, like learn some stuff.
Of course, the Buffs post all these videos, and they had D'Amato Pecco talk about joining the defensive line coaching staff. But the one with Marshall Faulk, where he comes in and addresses the running backs, and he says, "I'm Marshall Faulk," and he basically says, "I'm Googleable."
Yeah,
Like,
just
if you want to
look
know
me
what
up
I
on
did.
Google. He's very good. He gave a good speech. And today on Zoom, Denzel Washington spoke to the team.
Pretty good actor.
Heard of him? He gave a powerful speech, so.
He was a great coach, remember?
Yes, he was in a couple of films.
He's been there and done that. As far as the hardwood, the CU men's basketball team had taken a bit of a Cinderella run at the Big 12 tournament, but today the clock hit midnight. They hung tough but came up short against the #1 tournament seeded Houston Cougars. They fall 77-68, and that ends Tad Boyle's team season. They finished with an overall record of 14-20, but a good finish after what was a tough year.
Yeah, they should hold their heads high because it was a tough year.
Interesting to see what comes next now.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes when you show up at the end like this, is that good for recruiting? I would hope.
It can be, yeah. That's the hard part. Recruiting, you know, especially with basketball, one really good player can make a difference. I mean, I remember when Ricardo Patton brought in Chauncey Billups. Seemed to have a pretty good impact.
He did. I heard he's still doing something with the game.
Pretty good for a couple years.
The CSU men's basketball team finally takes the court tonight. The #2 seed Rams are taking on Nevada in the Mountain West quarterfinals. Tip-off is at 7. The Rams are the only Colorado program still playing in a conference tournament. And even if they don't win the Mountain West tournament, they could still make it to March Madness. Right now, ESPN has them just outside the bubble, but that could change with a couple of wins.